Hello, BookTube. Well, I've got some mail for you and a little help. We'll comment on the mail live
Supervision,
together.
really. I'm not sure I'll add anything.
We have a periodical and a bunch of packages. Periodical is the new TLS with a letter that I want to read you so that I can rant about it. There was an article in the previous TLS about Just Stop Oil, the protest campaign in the UK designed to draw attention to the ravages of climate change. And I've said a few times that I think antics like gluing yourself to the pavement or throwing tomato soup at a priceless painting, it makes people hate your cause. I've always thought that the slow, steady drip of civic work, electing the right assembly people, the non-flashy stuff, I think always works better to get your results. But that doesn't mean the results aren't worth getting, and naturally someone has to write in. Behind Regina Rini's wry look at the right side of history and the Just Stop Oil protesters is a false assumption, namely that history, properly understood, has any kind of side at all. Rini invites us to place Just Stop Oil on Theodore Parker's same arc of moral universe bending towards justice as the suffragettes and gay rights activists. But are they? Might they just as easily be on the wrong side of history as, to our mind, the morally repugnant Year Zero Khmer Rouge? Mao's murderous Red Guard, Stalin's NKVD, as they sought to eliminate the kulaks and other bourgeois enemies, all for being on the wrong side of history, and therefore impediments to the coming triumph of the proletariat? In America, that is what's known as both sidesism. And that is about as egregious an example as I could think. So, killing mass groups of people because of a quality that they don't have any control over is obviously wrong. Weaning Western society from its overdependence on climate-destroying fossil fuels is obviously right. So it irritated me, it irked me. I thought I'd get an editorial point in before we move on. To the books. So
really stuck your neck out there with that one.
Honestly, Just Stop Oil. So how do we know that isn't the same as Stalin, as Mao? Gee, I wonder how we know. The writer of the letter did not mention that he's an academic, but I'm sure that he is. Get that kind of stupidity in the label.
This is pettifogging for the sake of it.
What have we got here? Okay. I don't know why they do this. They've taken it's basically a sheet of paper saying, here's a book. It doesn't tell me anything. It's just this is a translated work. This is Malambo by Lucia Sharon Ilescas, translated by Emmanuel Harris II.
Oh my god, I volunteered to sit here. It's going to be all novels, isn't it?
Maybe not. Is it translated from the Spanish? Yes, it's translated from the Spanish. Okay, so this came out
2001.
Yeah, this came out a long time ago, and it has no sheet to it. I mean, there was a sheet, but it doesn't do.
Might as well
good.
not have been there.
The Rimac and the barrio of Malambo on its banks shapes the narrative of this compelling historical novel that probes the brutal clash of ethnicity, religion, and class in 16th and 17th century Peru, set against the backdrop of Spanish colonialism and the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects.
Okay, well, it's got the nice French flaps. I know no information on it, so I don't know what's out already. Oh, right, there you go.
Might as well be useful.
What's this next one? It would be amazing if we got a David Murphy book while
we're sitting here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Didn't know that I was getting this. Oh. All right, well, I know why I'm getting this. This must be self-published, right? Oh, no. This is Great Cases, legal cases, popular kind of book. This is Justice at Trial, Courtroom Battles and Groundbreaking Cases by James Buchanan. This is, okay, do we have a date on this? Do you have any kind of useful information for me here? Yeah. July 15th. Okay. Let's see what this was a million years ago when it came out. Wow, a blurb from Lawrence Tribe. Gender discrimination, freedom of the press, voting rights, refugees, sexual harassment, false imprisonment. Sounds like your visit. I don't think they missed a single element. Mention any headline in the nightly news, and legal legend James Buchanan has tried a case. Harvard legal giant Lawrence Tribe calls him a lion of the law. So this is his life in court.
He's from Boston too.
Okay, great. Well, I'll read it. I'm sure that I'll enjoy it. It might be just a bit late for a review, but maybe not. It's kind of weird. It doesn't have a dust jacket.
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah.
But you never see it. Okay, all right. Legal cases. That's odd. We've got one of these vacuum packed things here. Oh, okay. No sheet. Oh no, there we go. Good. This is the great Anne Enright, and this is her new book, The Wren. Let's see. This got starred reviews from Booklist, Publishers Weekly, and Kirkus. And I'm wondering if it's going to have a blurb from that guy in the Wall Street Journal for Anne Enright's last book, but I don't see it. It's on here. James Wood, John Sutherland, Ron Charles, Sally Rooney, and the Wall Street Journal. Oh, the only person who's not named on the back. There is a blurb for her book, Actress, which was terrific. Absolutely terrific. So what have we got here? All poems are of love unrequited. The famed Irish poet Phil McDarragh declares in Annie Enright's incandescent new novel. I am not sure there is any other kind of poem, and I am not sure there's any other kind of love. The Iliad. 22-year-old Neil McDarragh never knew the great poet who spoke these words, Nell MacDonald, but her connection to him and to his darkly ecstatic poems, full of passion and wonder, is a rope thrown from the past, a fat, twisted rope full of blood. Phil is her grandfather. In her own way, Nell is following in Phil's footsteps, finding her voice as a writer, seeking a life that is free and full of yearning. Well, it actually doesn't matter because this is an author whose credit in the Bank of Tea could not be higher. So I'm going to read this anyway. Wouldn't matter if it. Okay, this comes out in late September. Great. I have all this.
They give you a Talmud in Chicago. It gives you a napkin.
I don't need all that stuff. But this is her new book. This comes out in late September. I think this is out in the UK already. Is that right? The Wren. You probably want to take that with you. Curl up on the flight back on some made-up stories. Another finished copy. Okay, more fiction. This is a David Repelling mail haul. So when did you come out? All right, late September. September 19th. Looks like it's going to be a very busy day. This is a novel called All You Have to Do Is Call by Carrie Marr. Is this a debut? No, she did the Paris Bookseller. I remember that book. And the Kennedy Debutante. I remember that book as well. Okay, I've read a couple of her books then. And she lives in a suburb west of Boston. A leafy suburb west of Boston. She lives here. She's probably downstairs right now. Nobody ever uses, when you're talking about not suburbs or neighborhoods in greater Boston, when you're talking about those, leafy is only used to ever used to describe one of those neighborhoods, and it's mine. So she probably lives here. Let's see here. So this is her coming back with an important and timely novel inspired by a newly relevant chapter in women's history. The book is based on Chicago's best-known secret of the 1970s, the Jane Collective, an underground group that helped women obtain reproductive counseling and safe abortions in the lead-up to the landmark 1973 Supreme Court case, Roe v. Wade. In this sweeping novel, the path of three women intersects as they are forced to make choices that will alter their lives forever. Okay, the Jane Collective. I have to Google that and learn a little bit about it to do this. September, that's good. I'm glad I'm getting September finished copies. Absolutely. Could do with a little more nonfiction. Got Mr. Nonfiction sitting right next to me, but let's see. These last two are boxes. They will probably be finished copies as well. Okay, this is late September. This is from the great folks at Princeton. This is a book about sea mammals. The past and present lives of our ocean's cornerstone species. It's a normal-sized hardcover, but it's heavy because it's full of color photography. Just full, every page. Oh, God. Oh, my God. And here you're going to get the same thing. We saw this with cephalopods and also sharks. You're going to get breakdowns by species, distributions, that sort of thing. Oh, man. Okay. I love my job. Let's see. This is by Annalisa Berta. And let's see. From the gregarious sea otter and playful dolphins to the sociable narwhal, an iconic polar bear, sea mammals are a large, diverse, and increasingly precious group. Assuming that we're ruling out manatees for obvious reasons. The author is a leading expert on sea mammals and their evolution and presents an engaging and richly illustrated introduction to past and present species. And that evolution, you've got here on the front, the past and present, and here the pub sheet mentions evolution, and that's what you get on the back. I am sure that you natural history nerds can tell me what that is. I would talk about cornerstone. That creature on the back is very important. And who are you when you're at home? Annalisa Berta is Professor Emerita of Biology at San Diego State University, a specialist in the anatomy and evolutionary biology of marine animals. Okay. Fantastic. I love these things. Now I have a discreet little shelf open because Princeton, someone at Princeton likes me. That's great. And then the last thing. So we did get a little nonfiction book on the natural history, the evolution of sea mammals. Is this last one? Oh, okay. Fantastic. All right, good. This comes out in late September, the 19th. That's going to be a bottleneck day. I've noticed this, of course, for years. You do this, you notice some days are just monstrous. This is the finished copy of Fool by Peter Anderson. This is a speculative biography of Will Sommer, who was Henry VIII's fool, particular position at court. It's easy to think of it as a court jester, but the fool was something other than that. There weren't much in the way of pratfalls, but they were a kind of weird, floating, repercussions-free conscience, sort of a Greek chorus.
In England, though, right?
Yeah.
Very different in Italy or something.
Yeah. The fool, Will Sommer or anybody else, with someone like Henry VIII, the main danger that they ran was not that some counselor would say, you've just spoken treason. It was that they'd be belted across the head. They were considered non-people. The key word here is going to be speculative because I don't know that we know enough to make a biography. Not much is known about William Will Sommer apart from a few apocryphal stories about his sharp wit that proliferated in the decades after his death in 1559. But he loomed large in the public's popular imagination, in the plays and writings of Shakespeare's contemporaries, Thomas Nash and Robert Armin, and in folk stories, and in Henry VIII's court as a trusted member of his retinue who could speak freely without fear of reprisal. But Henry couldn't belt the Duke of Norfolk. If he didn't like what he heard, he couldn't belt the Duke of Norfolk, but he could belt his fool. I'm pretty sure, am I remembering correctly, that by far this person's biggest time in the spotlight would be that he is the narrator of Elizabeth George's novel, The Autobiography of Henry VIII. Pretty sure that's right. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I read that book, but I'm pretty sure he's the main character. it always bothers me too because that book is invariably in the history section at used bookstores.
Oh,
It was in the British history section at the Book Barn. King Henry VIII did not write an autobiography, so if you see that, you're
yeah. Some high schooler stuck in shelves.
Yeah. Well, okay. The pub sheet says that the position of fool is a powerful position we can scarcely imagine in a modern context. That is very true. I don't know of any modern equivalent. Well, we outsource now to comedians that aren't in any physical proximity to the subject. In this book, the author weaves together a biography of a mysterious figure out of letters, pamphlets, paintings, and bits of cultural ephemera, like Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall trilogy. He's in Wolf Hall. To paint a fuller picture of the Tudor court, the figure of a courtly fool. Okay, well, I have the paperback, the advanced copy of this thing, and I haven't got to it. Now I have a busy September. Great. These were all September, weren't they? Well, the ones that we know of. There are a couple that we don't know.
Here,
We've got.
So is it a steep pyramid if I do it?
Let's see. A novel about the lead up to Roe v. Wade that was settled law in this country for half a century and is now gone. So if you are a woman who is 50 or 60, your daughters and granddaughters will have fewer rights than you do. See here, The Wren by Anne Enright. Strongly recommend the novel Actress. It was overprinted, so there are lots of copies out there. I'm sure your used bookstore would have a copy. I strongly recommend it. We have The Justice at Trial. A lawyer reminisces on his famous cases. We have an old historical novel with a new translation. And we have Fool, biography of Will Sommer.
Good mix.
So there you go.
Yeah.
It was a good mix.
Yeah.
And what's this?
This is the crappy Chicago.
Does this have somebody to contact? No. No, it's nothing at all. All right. Well,
yeah.
So there you go. Some mail. One last glimpse of my guest. A glimpse of the bean. It has been wonderful this whole time. So, there she is. She's very tired. She's wiped. She's been extra stimulated for days. Which is more than
one
I
of
can
us.
say.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to go. John Wayne clips are calling. But I'll be back. Thank you, Book 2.